Hello, I'm Dr. Janine Bowring, naturopathic doctor, and today I'll be talking about how to increase vitamin D3 in the body naturally. Well, one, the obvious, get more sunlight, but if we can't do that, then sometimes we definitely have to treat the vitamin D deficiency by taking a supplement, and we can rapidly treat the vitamin D deficiency with some simple ingredients. So certainly top of mind is a vitamin D supplement, and you want to look for a vitamin D3 supplement because this is the same type that our skin makes from the sun, and it is more readily absorbed. Now, one of my tips is to always take it with a healthy fat because vitamin D is, again, it's a hormone. It's a prohormone and it's fat soluble. So some of our vitamins like vitamin C and the B vitamins are water soluble. We flush them out very readily through our urine, whereas vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K, these are fat soluble, which means we can actually store them in our fat cells. And this is to our advantage, but we don't want to ever take too much, but we want to take it with a healthy fat when we are ingesting our vitamin D to help to maximize that absorption of that vitamin D. And certain supplements actually come with fat within the supplement itself to help to maximize that absorption. So that's something you can take a look at. If you want links to supplements, you can take a look in the description below and you'll get that information there. Now, another thing that actually helps with the absorption of vitamin D is magnesium. And magnesium bisglycinate is the type that I take. And as in our previous show where we talked all about the protective effects of magnesium, why magnesium is and we have a huge deficiency issue with magnesium. We simply don't get it in our soils anymore, but it has a very protective effect when we take enough magnesium against EMF radiation. So those electromagnetic fields from our phones, from our computers, our televisions, everything that's plugged in basically around us has an EMF and has that radiation, which potentially could have a negative effect on our bodies. So magnesium works like a natural calcium channel blocker, so helps to prevent that damage from EMFs, but vitamin D also helps to protect us from EMFs. And a study that was done on rats, and I know that some people will say, well, rats, aren't the same as humans, but often they give us some great information. So what the study showed was that just 1 hour a day of EMF exposure to the rats resulted in a significant decrease in the immunoglobulins, which we can see here, but also it had an effect on the leukocytes and the lymphocytes and the other immune cells. And they found, surprisingly, or not surprisingly, that after, and that was just 1 hour of exposure, but then after 2 hours of exposure of the EMFs to the rats, that it significantly increased these changes. So definitely the correlation was there. And what they did find was that the vitamin D supplementation in the EMF exposed rats reversed the results when compared to the non-EMF exposed groups. So this is significant. And, to think that we could do, again, something naturally, but we can't necessarily get away from that EMF exposure, but whatever we can do naturally to protect ourselves is of utmost importance. Now, another tip that I have is when you're taking your vitamin D is to also take it with DHA. So DHA, again, from the food sources that we talked about in terms of fish and the fats of fish and seals and whales and things that, northern cultures traditionally would be eating in their diet that has natural vitamin D within that food, but also contains DHA. So DHA is super important in terms of an omega-3 fatty acid to help to increase that absorption of that vitamin D. Now, the other thing that's interesting is that the relationship between vitamin D and the microbiome. So you know that I'm all about the microbiome and having that healthy gut ecology, and the microbiome is basically the balance between the good and the bad organisms that are naturally living in our gut. So we've got the good ones, the probiotics, and the bad ones, the not so good ones. But what has been shown is that exposure to UVB light helps to increase the diversity in the microbiome. Now, where I'm going with this is that healthy people tend to have a greater diversity of that microbiome, and the more diverse your microbiome, the better. And the study showed that by having that skin exposure, especially to the UVB light, helps to have that modulation to the healthy microbiome. So this was studied on healthy females, and they found that this, again, was the first study to show that humans with low vitamin D serum levels display an overt change in their intestinal microbiome in response to UVB skin exposure, and increases the vitamin D levels, suggesting the existence of a novel skin-gut axis which could be used to promote the healthy intestinal homeostasis. So yes, there is a correlation, and I've found it so fascinating, and I'm looking more and more into this connection between the gut and our microbiome and that exposure to UV light. And it has been said that our microbiome actually gives off light. So imagine that when people say you're lit from within, yeah, we are lit from within, and that diversity in our microbiome, could that be the light that's actually fueling the vitamin D that we are ingesting and that we have internally? So something really interesting. I'm hoping that future studies are going to be done on this to be able to really find that link and why it's so important that we connect all these things, not only our sun exposure, but helping to have that healthy microbiome as well. Now, autoimmune disease. Now, we know that this is on the rise, and there are actually vitamin D receptors in the tight junctions of our gut. So if you've heard me talk about autoimmunity before, that leaky gut syndrome definitely is of utmost importance that we help to tighten up those junctions again. And vitamin D has been proven to actually help with that tight junction and that the tissue barrier in terms of being able to maintain that tight junction. So in this study, what the researchers found is that mounting evidence indicates that vitamin D and the vitamin D receptor play key roles in the pathogenesis of human disease, and that in the tight junction complexes, that this has a lot to do with treating defective tissue barriers that involve not just the gut, but also the skin, the lungs, the kidneys, and other organs. So, again, further research needs to be done on this. This is just the beginning, I think, in terms of taking a good hard look at, why the leaky gut is such an issue and what we can do. So vitamin D would be another one of those tools to help to maintain that healthy gut. So that was all about how to increase our vitamin D naturally in the body. Thanks for watching. I hope this video taught you something new. And if it did, please give me a big thumbs up. I would love for that. And also for you to hit that subscribe button so that you always get my newest and latest uploads. Also, if you've got questions and comments, please leave them below. And I'll see you next time. Remember to take care of your good health and to do it naturally.